Hi guys, welcome to our snow day. We will be taking notes off of this note sheet. Now, if you're someone who likes to fill in the notes, you guys can go online and print this if you have a printer at home. Otherwise, you're just gonna have to put these into loose leaf paper and just take notes like old school. So you want to grab some paper. Good thing about my video is you can pause it if I'm moving too fast, because I'm going to keep moving. I'm not going to really pause on this video, but you can pause it and then kind of see what I've done that you missed or something, or go back, rewind. So we are going to start notes here today on 7-7, and we're going to use sine, cosine, and tangent to solve right triangles. And so if you guys see here, it says solving right triangles means finding all missing sides and all missing angles. Now, we've known how to find the missing sides using SOHCAHTOA and using Pythagorean theorem. Today we're going to learn about solving for missing angles by using a button on our calculator. So if you look here, right above the sine button and cosine button and tangent, there's like a sine to the -1, cosine to the -1, tangent to the -1. That's called the inverse sine, inverse cosine, and inverse tangent. And we're going to use that today to find missing angles. So to find missing angles, we're going to use the inverse sine, cosine, and tangent. So to find missing sides and angles, you're going to use inverse sine, inverse cosine, and inverse tangent. And I'll show you guys how to do that here in a second. Also though, with the angles of a triangle, we know the angles of a triangle add up to 180. So if I know if I know the 90-degree angle and another angle, I can find that third angle because they add up to 180. So I'll use this a lot as well. The angle 1 + 2 + 90 = 180. You'll probably hear my dogs walking by a lot during the video. Hopefully they don't start crying here. So we're going to find all missing sides, all missing angles. So this first problem here, try to zoom in here. We have this triangle and it's asking us to find the question mark. Now, in order to find the question mark, I'm going to label everything based off of this question mark. So this is the opposite. This is the hypotenuse. And then this is the adjacent. So since I have that, I can use any of my trig functions because I know all three sides. So we just have to pick our favorite trig function. One of my classes like to say they like sin because they like to sin. Great. So we can use sine if we want. Now normally I do sine of whatever angle it is. Well, I don't know the angle, so sine of question mark. And it equals O over H, so opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite is 32, hypotenuse is 40. Now, we don't know, like we're trying to get this question mark alone or the variable alone if it was a variable. We don't know what it is, so to undo sine, we're going to use that inverse sine like I mentioned over here. So we do sine inverse of this fraction. That allows us to solve for the angle. So I'll show you guys that on the calculator. So I hit second and then sine. So there's that inverse sine coming up. And then I'm just going to do 32 divided by 40. You can make it into a fraction as well if you want. You don't need to though. You just do division. And I'm going to get an angle of 53.1. Now notice my calculator's in that degree mode, so if you're not in that mode, you might have to switch it. And that's this button. But it should say degree, so 53.1 is my question mark. That's my unknown angle. So I just found the missing angle in this case. So moving on to this problem, I want to find angles A and B. And if you can see this one, this is 8 and 14. I'm going to start with angle A that I'm looking for. I'm going to label based off of that. Now this time I don't know the hypotenuse, so it's kind of forcing my hand to use a certain trig function. So I want to use the one that has opposite and adjacent. So O and A. The only one that has O and A is tangent. So I'm going to use tangent because O and A is what I know. I'm using the tangent of angle A equals O over A, so opposite over adjacent, so 14 over 8. So in order to solve for A, again, to undo and get that that angle alone, we use the inverse tangent, which again is a button on our calculator. So I'm going to pull that up. So inverse tangent of 14 over 8. And so I get 60.3 for my angle. So there's our angle A. Now if I know angle A is 63 or 60.3, and I know this little right angle is 90, I know the angles of a triangle add up to 180. So I can solve this now. I can add those together. And then I can subtract that 150.3. So if I know angle B, so that'd be 29.7. So there's my third angle. Now, had I wanted to do another trig function, I could have. I could actually use tangent, the inverse tangent of B, but then I would have flipped this fraction. So there was other ways to get it. I could have also found the hypotenuse and used other trig functions as well. But I found angle A and angle B. So this one asked us to find all the missing angles. Now we're going to talk about what happens if they ask us to solve the triangle. People who know math means that they know that means that we're going to find all the missing sides and all the missing angles. And I probably won't do both examples down here, just so that notes don't get too long. I'll probably just do one. That's what I did in my regular class anyway. So if you just want to follow the one, if you have more questions, you can always email me again, or you can stop and go back and watch the example again if needed. So we're going to solve this right triangle. That means we have all the missing side, or we know all the sides. We want to find all the angles. That means I want to find Z and X. So I'm going to start with X. So like I did up on the last example, I'm going to label everything based off of X. And I can use whatever trig function I want. Since I haven't used cosine yet, it's feeling left out, we're going to use that. So I'm going to use cosine. So, and cosine of X. And it's going to equal the A over H. So A over H. So in order to solve for X, sorry, my hand's a little shaky here. I'm going to do the inverse cosine of this. So again, grab my calculator. Inverse cosine of 15 over 39. And I get 67.4. Once I know x, I can go and find z, again using the same method I did up on the last example, and then I've solved the triangle. I found all the missing sides and all the missing angles. So I know that y is 90. So we find out angle Z is 22.6 degrees. So again, if that needs to be, you need to watch that again, go ahead and rewind or pause as needed. I'm going to flip the page over because again, this example is just very similar to what we just did. So I'm going to flip the page over. This is the back side of our homework, our notes. I'm just going to probably do the one example again. Hopefully just the one example is enough just to keep my video kind of short, and then the homework is listed here. But also, again, you're going to have to go online and do the online quiz, which hopefully should be easy based off of taking the notes. So this one, I'm missing an angle and two sides. Now, I think I can find the angle more easily than the sides because, again, I know this is 90 and I know that's 25. So m plus 25 plus 90 should equal 180. And 25 and 90 is 115. And then I can subtract 115. To find out that we have, is it 65 degrees? Yeah, that would make sense, 65. So there's our angle. So now we know angle M. So we are part of the way done, so solving the right triangle. Now I have to find all the missing sides. Now I'm going to label everything based off this 25. 25. Now, if you wanted to use 65, now that we know that, you could, and that might even be easier, but I'm going to stick with this. So there's my opposite, hypotenuse, adjacent. So I can use, again, whatever trig function I want. Well, no, I can't use whatever trig function I want. I have to use the opposite side because I don't know either of those. So if I'm talking about SOHCAHTOA, I can't use adjacent over hypotenuse because I don't know either of them. So I can't use cosine. So I have to use either sine or tangent. So I'm just going to choose sine. So sine of 25 equals O over H. O over H, which is x. So remember, when x is in the denominator, we have to multiply to get it out of the denominator. Some of you guys just know like the steps on how to do that without having to show these work, but so now x is being multiplied by the sine of 25, so we're going to divide by the sine of 25. I have to do 10 divided by the sine of 25 in my calculator. And this is just normal sine, because again, I'm trying to find a side length, so I use the normal sine, not the inverse sine. So I get 23.7 as my side length. So that's my hypotenuse. Now that I know that, I still need to go back and find angle Y. So this is 23.7. Now I could use another trig function, or I can use the fact that I know Pythagorean theorem. So I can find y using Pythagorean theorem, where this is my hypotenuse, which is C, and I have a and b here. So I can do y squared plus 10 squared equals 23.7 squared, because that's my hypotenuse. Now again, when I do that, I can actually leave this in my calculator to be a little bit more accurate. So a lot of times I don't even take that out of my calculator, I just square it the way it is. I know this is kind of a big number. I know this is 100, but I have like 559.9. So I'm going to subtract 100. Sorry, my dog's crying. Hopefully we'll be done here quickly. She's wondering why we're awake so early. So now I can take the square root of each side. So I'm going to take the square root of that. And if you never use square root of answer, second equal sign, it takes the previous answer and takes the, oh, I don't know how to do that. Hang on, sorry. Oh, goodness. I messed this up, sorry. Oh well, we'll just go with what we had. Okay, so I guess I have to kind of rewind here a little bit. So I'm going to do 10 sine 25. I got this number, 23.7. I'm going to square it. I have to subtract 100 from it, and that's where I get 459.9. And then I'm going to take the square root of the answer. Sorry. So I found out y is 21.4. And that's my third side. So now I know the angle and the two sides. So I solved the right triangle. So again, I'm not going to do this example over here. I can always do one with you guys, or the two of them with you guys when we get back on Thursday. But the homework is listed here. I will also write it online, but then you also have to go online and do the online quiz. This is what we use to take attendance, that you've actually attended our snow day. So please go online and take the quiz. It's super important. I hope you guys have a good snow day and that everything goes okay. Feel free to send me messages and questions if you guys have them. Thanks. Bye.